You guys have probably seen Vince in his review of the Haval HEV, and honestly, we were left with good impressions about it. But will it be the same with its bigger brother? Brothers? Hey guys, Jamil here from AutoIndustriya.com, and what I have for you are two examples of the Haval H6 HEV. It's currently the biggest crossover offering of Great Wall Motor Philippines, and unlike the Jolion, the H6 comes in two variants, but they are both hybrid electric vehicles. Let's get to know more about the vehicle, but first, let's see where the H6 sizes up against its competition. At around 4.6 meters long, 1.88 meters wide, and 1.7 meters tall, the H6 sizes up as a C-segment crossover, putting it squarely against the likes of the Toyota RAV4 HEV, the Subaru Forester, the Ford Territory, and the GAC MQ. Do let us know what you think of the look in the comment section down below, but clearly, the H6 has a sporty vibe going for it. I mean, just look at it. It has this large chrome grille with this Haval logo right here that has a blue background, which signifies it's a new energy vehicle. You also have a full LED lighting treatment in front, as you have the DRLs, your headlights, as well as your fog lights that are all LED. But really, the main difference here is that the H6 Max has 18-inch wheels with a two-tone finish, while the top-of-the-line H6 Supreme is wearing bigger 19-inch wheels painted in black. From the side, you'll notice it's sitting pretty high. And while we didn't quite get the official ground clearance of this one, you're looking somewhere in the 180 to 200 millimeter range. So really, both of these variants give you a lot of confidence on going over rough terrain. At the back, you'll notice it has this proud Haval badging right in the center with the full-width LED light bar. You also have more badging with the H6 and HEV on the left, as well as the GWM badge on the right. Below it, you have your rear fog lamps, which is very good, especially in low visibility situations. You also have this diffuser-like element that has 29 spokes. I don't know what that does for aerodynamics, but it's there. You also have this spoiler right here that has the furred brake lamp. So it's very cool, very concise, very clean look with the Haval H6 HEV. As I've said earlier, these two vehicles have very similar features. The Supreme and Max both come with kick sensors on their tailgates, which I'll show you. Wow! So now you see the two possible configurations of the Haval H6 HEV when it comes to cargo space. But let's begin with the Supreme variant. So as you can see, you have about 31 inches of cargo length from here to the back of the second row seats. From the left wheel well to the right wheel well is around 37 inches. And you have a cargo height of about 28 inches. So that may leave you wanting for a bit more cargo height, but that's because the hybrid system is located underneath. So now you have the early warning device, the tow hook, and as well as your tire inflator. You also have your fire extinguisher as well as a first aid kit. But what's underneath here is your 12-volt battery as well as your 1.8 kilowatt-hour battery for your hybrid system. So that takes up much of the space at the back. So now let's move over to the Max variant. So here it's not quite a fold flat space, but you have about 62 inches of cargo length. Both variants of the GWM Haval H6 HEV are powered by a series parallel hybrid system. So you have a 1.5-liter four-cylinder turbo engine right here that's good enough for 148 PS and 230 Newton meters of torque. You have the turbo at the back, and you have those charge pipes going over the intercooler, and this is your intake. But when it's paired to the electric motor, it has a combined system output of 243 PS and a whopping 530 Newton meters of torque. So that's easily way past what most diesel-powered PPVs are making out there. And much like the Haval Jolion, This hybrid system right here is paired to a 2-speed dedicated hybrid transmission. So more on that once we're driving, but first, let's check out what's inside the Haval H6 HEV. Alright, so now that we're here inside the Haval H6 HEV, first things first, legroom. As you can see, I'm 5'9". This front seat is already adjusted to Zach, who is 6 feet tall, and I still have generous amount of knee room. Elbow room is also very good, visibility is okay. Headroom, well, I have a lot. I'm 5'9", and even if the panoramic sunroof is already open, very nice view up top. So inside the H6 HEV, you have a gray and black interior with leather seats with these perforations here, so it cools down faster when on hot days. You also have these pair of cup holders in the middle and your armrest. These are your 2 AC vents and 2 Type A USB charging ports. One more thing, transmission tunnel does not protrude that much into the cabin, so if someone's seated right here, he will still have a comfortable time inside. What else do we have? So these storage pockets right here for your stuff, as well as 3-point ELR seat belts, so even the middle passenger gets a 3-point seat belt, and 1, 2, 3, and 4 ISOFIX anchor points for your child seats. Now let's move over to the driver's seat. The Haval H6 has a lot of interior features to show, but once you look at the dashboard and the cabin itself, it's very clean. It's very clutter-free. As you can see, there's very minimal buttons, and most of the functions are actually integrated into the screen right here, which we'll talk about in a bit. But first, these leather seats also have their perforations, and those function as your holes for ventilation. You have cooled seats in front for both driver and passenger. You also have power adjustment for the seats in front. But for the Max variant, that's only reserved for the driver's seat. The passenger has manual adjustment. But moving on the seats, well, they're okay in terms of bolstering. But when it comes to thigh support, I'm actually wanting a bit more. I think they could have made it a bit thicker. So over long distances, you still have nice support for your legs. But other than that, it's all well and good. Now, you have this big steering wheel right here, and it actually reminds me a lot of a Range Rover, especially with the leather wrap and these silver accents right here. You have the buttons for your infotainment screen on the left and the digital instrument cluster on the right. But moving on, this digital instrument cluster right here has very good display. Actually very intuitive, and you can see a lot of the functions of the vehicle. You have a consumption meter, you have a trip meter right here. You also have this graphic right here that shows the energy consumption of the vehicle. And you also notice that this one doesn't have a tachometer since it's a hybrid. It shows more of the power percentage that you have while you're on the throttle. On the left, you have the power consumption. You also have the speedometer on the right, which is fully digital. So if you're looking for analog dials, you won't find it here at the H6 HEV. In the middle, you also have the graphic for the ADAS function. Actually, when you're rolling, you'll see the lines on the road as well as the cars around you. Now let's move over to this rear view mirror. This is auto dimming, standard for both Max and Supreme variants. You also have the controls here up top for the panoramic sunroof and the sunshade. You have a shade pocket right here. And now, let's talk more about this part right here, the middle screen. This is 12.3 inch. And in terms of smartphone connectivity, you have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. As you can see right now, my phone is connected to it. So let's cycle through the functions of the screen right here. So you have Android Auto, very nice display. And here you also have the controls for the ADAS systems. You can actually adjust the sensitivity, you can even turn them off. And one good thing about this is that you can save it. You can save the functions, you can save your settings. So even if you turn the engine off and turn it back on, it will not go back to default, which is a good thing. Other than that, we also have my favorite part. Look how clear the display is. These are your rear view cameras. You can actually cycle them. You have a front camera as well as on the sides. So you also have a 3D view of the Haval H6. Very clear, very crisp. So ewan ko na lang pag nag-gutter ka pa dito. But it's very nice. Very helpful feature, especially when going on tight spaces. Then over here, you have a pair of cup holders, as well as your electronic parking brake and your auto brake hold function. A nice glove box here as well to store a lot of things. I can still talk about most of the interior features of the Haval H6. We haven't covered everything. But it's time for us to go out and take the Haval H6 for a spin. Driving impressions of the Haval H6 HEV. What you'll immediately notice is that it has plenty of power for its size. 243 PS and 530 Newton meters. On a car like this, it has plenty. Now just check out how powerful this is. Step on it. Woo! Immediately, that's 70 kilometers per hour. And that's what you get when you have an electric motor and an ICE working together as a unit. The electric motor provides the instantaneous torque, and then at the higher RPMs, the ICE takes over. And as an SUV, you have a very nice driving visibility. I have a high driving position right here, so excellent visibility all around. Also, it's very easy to find the proper driving position with the Haval H6 HEV because not only do you have power seats, you also have tilt and telescopic adjustment. So you can easily get comfortable behind the wheel. But of course, you're gonna be wanting a bit more thigh support, as I mentioned earlier. But nevertheless, it's an enjoyable crossover to drive. It's fuel economy numbers. In the city, I've been averaging around 16 kilometers per liter at 17 kilometer average. Of course, on the highway, you only have a 1.5 liter turbo under the hood when you're on the expressway, so you also get excellent highway fuel economy. I got around 19 kilometers per liter on an 82 kilometer average, 82 kilometers per hour. And yes, I've been spending time with the Haval H6. It's been with me for about a few days already, and the gas gauge says I haven't even reached the 3/4 marker on the fuel gauge. It says here that I still have around 560 kilometers of driving range, so that's still plenty. Pwede pa ako umakyat ng Baguio. That's what happens when you have a small displacement engine on a vehicle like this. So you still have that small car fuel efficiency numbers even though you have a big crossover. But while we have many good things to say about the Haval H6 HEV, we also see some points for improvement, some things they can work on. Like for example, the horn. See, there's a bit of a delay when you press it, and at times you may end up honking on the wrong vehicle when you experience that delay. But nevertheless, overall, the Haval H6 is a solid crossover. But what's the retail in one of these? Well, let's head back to the warehouse and discuss it. GWM Haval H6 HEV starts at 1,788,000 pesos for the max variant, while this top-of-the-line Supreme model we just drove sells for 1,883,000 pesos. Well, the max variant loses some of the features like the HUD, the park assist, as well as smaller wheels, while the Supreme gets all the bells and whistles. But both of these vehicles come with a 5-year, 150,000 kilometer warranty and a service schedule that will only make you visit the casa once a year. So clearly, much like the Jolion HEV, the Haval H6 HEV has a lot of good things going for it. But we all know that the product is not the only thing that GWM has to take care of. They need to provide good after-sales service, and they need to show that their vehicles are in it for the long run. Both of those factors will play a huge part in their enduring presence in the market. So what do you think of the Haval H6 HEV, and which one would you pick? Let us know in the comment section down below. This is Jamil of AutoIndustriya.com. Thank you for watching.